Slowly. Preparing to live stream. It's moving a little slow, but it's getting there.
Next level convo. Okay, so I see.
Oh, wow, already?
I see it's not showing up on my end yet. It pops up here.
On the Zoom.
Yes. But I'm on the channel.
Mm-hmm.
And should I click?
Maybe refresh?
Yeah, let me refresh. Let me refresh. Oh, there you are. Oh, there we go.
Make sure yours is on mute so you don't get confused who's talking.
Yeah. Live now. We are live. So I'm going to grab this link. Copy. I'm just sharing it on my Facebook.
Same here.
Let me tag some people.
Okay.
Oh, I'm getting warm. I'm getting hot.
That was fast.
Yeah.
Wait till we start talking. We didn't even start talking yet.
And I just had 2 sips. I just had 2 sips of
Hey, don't say that. Not on the live stream.
Of my beverage.
Just exactly. Exactly.
Of my beverage.
Yes, family friendly this evening.
Yeah. Okay. So
all right.
We're good?
I think we're good. I think we're good.
And go back to people are watching right now. They'll be like, what? Well, for me, it's my first time live on, actually, second time. I think we went live on October flag raising.
For the flag raising, yes. Yeah. But this is different, right? This is just.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. More informal, social, casual conversation.
Yep.
All right. Well, good night. I guess we introduce ourselves first, or do we just
first right? First, introduce. You want to go?
Sure. My name is Camille Kerr. I'm the founder and president of a few not-for-profits that serve the Caribbean Canadian community. And I'm joined here by my colleague and friend.
Oliver Levy, and I'm also part of the CC community, Caribbean Canadian community, specifically part of Caribbean Canadian community, Chamber of Commerce and Community. I'm a director there, also a director of Caribbean Canadian Parents United, CCPU, and many different things, but we're not going to talk about that unless we have questions. But I just want to jump right into our conversation. And I'm not sure how tonight is going to go. We're not sure how tonight is going to go. But like I was saying before, officially, this is actually, my first time on YouTube Live.
So yes, this is a first for us.
It's going to be fun. Yeah.
Yes. Fun. So why did we decide to do this, Oliver?
Why? Okay, go ahead.
I'll give the background. So I guess, okay, so I am not a person that does videos often, only when I have to.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, only when I have to. But I think now, just given this moment, given the pandemic, given everything that's been going on in the last year, it's time to level up and look for ways to challenge myself. Plus, I have a lot that I want to talk about. We all want our voices to be heard. And, I'm no different. I want my voice to be heard. I have a lot of, opinions on things, and I have a lot of information that I want to share. And, I just think now's the time to just really, respond, accept the challenge. So this is my first, I guess, candid live stream. And I invited my good friend Oliver, because for those of you who don't know, Oliver is very tech savvy. He's on video all the time on his channel, Mindful Parenting Toolkit on Instagram and Facebook. Does it all the time. So I thought, if I'm going to try this, I might as well go under the wings of an expert, and kind of, take little tips and pointers from the experts. So I'm lucky that I have experts around me. And that's the point, right? Is ask for help. That's lesson number 1 tonight, folks, is ask for help. You don't have to know how to do everything. Just surround yourself with the right people so that you're always growing, right? Growing, learning and growing and becoming a better version of yourself. So that's how it started. And it's very informal, very casual. It's kind of like the topic of the day. It's not like we have a hidden agenda. It's really just for our audience to get to know us, for our members to get to know us, for the board to get to know us better, for us to get to know each other better, and then just, create this open, safe space. So we encourage comments and questions in the YouTube channel. We're paying attention to that, and we'll see how it goes. Based on how this goes, we decide if we want to continue doing it moving forward. So it's a dry run, it's a pilot, it's a test at this point. Why did you accept, Oliver? Why did you accept this invitation to join me on these calls, live streams?
What did I accept?
You could be doing anything on a Friday night. You could be hanging out with your wife and kids.
Right?
Yeah.
To be honest with you, and I know you said I'm an expert on all that stuff. I don't think so.
You're ahead of me then.
Yeah, I'll continue to learn. The thing is, when you talk about, and I know you mentioned time to level up, we have to be able to, what's happening now with the pandemic. And, I know for a fact, this reason why I jumped on social media a while back, because I know it's going to be the norm moving forward. So one of the things for me when we were talking and brainstorming is, when we talk about, going on, YouTube, I didn't, you were there. I didn't give it much thought. I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And you said, I even said, let's do it starting next month. You're like, why can't we do it this Friday? I said, sure, let's go. Right? For me, it was easy because anytime I get a chance to be on video, because we always have to be able to be in a situation where practice our presentation skills, because it's needed. think on the fly because it's going to help you. And just try to, obviously, pretty much showcase yourself.
Exactly.
Right? It's the way of the future.
Exactly.
You have to be able to showcase yourself. A lot of people on social media, they can comment and they can post stuff, but when people see you here, they know the real you, especially if you're in business. And my mentors always tell me, Camille, that people don't necessarily buy your product; they buy you.
Right.
If they can relate to you, they'll buy what you got to offer, right? So that was easy for me to accept, this
Yeah.
move going forward on YouTube Live.
Now, remember what I said to you last week, right? I said, one of the reasons why it took me this long is because, I figure I have to have everything perfect. When you see the videos coming out, they're all edited. Everybody knows they've rehearsed it. The lighting is perfect. The makeup is on point. The hair is straight from the salon, So everything is right. So that was one of the anxieties I had, is not having everything together all the time. You might hear a kid walk by in the background making noise,
You
And
should
what did you say when I told
see,
you that?
yeah, you should see, and I know Bert, my mentor, is always telling people about my story. You should see when I first going on social media. Especially if I'm in a corner of my bedroom. The wall was messy, the background is whatever. And I knew that, but that was the best wall for me. And I wasn't going to wait until I have a perfect wall or a green screen or anything like that. And I was doing films in my car. And obviously people, you know what? It's interesting because some of my friends, they text me, DM me and say, I think you should take that video down, right? and I knew, just like you, Camille, where at first I wanted to make sure everything was good for me to go, but after a while, when I started getting mentored and I realized that you just have to start, you have to take action, because here you're never going to be ready. Right?
Exactly.
I know people who've been on Facebook live for the first time, and they're like trying to get ready for months. The moment they press live, they're in a whole different world. They're a wreck.
Wow. Wow.
So you're never gonna be ready. And over the years, and it's different things that kind of help me to be so comfortable, because over the years, it's something called neural pathways, where you do something, it's going to be very challenging and a lot of fear at first, but the more you do it again and again and again, it's less and less fear. So it's when I started, I didn't really care what was in my background. I was just, and my wife, Lisa, she was watching my videos, not even to hear what I'm saying. She was watching my videos to say, that video you did last week, just so you know, this and this was in the background, so I think you should take it out. She will give me some.
Yeah.
Right. So,
yeah.
And I said, I'm not taking it out. I think I took down one, right?
Yeah.
And I understood, but I said, I'm not taking it out, because it's, what's funny? Have you ever go back and watch yourself?
Huh. Again, handful of videos, but yes, but not for long. Not for long.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It took me like probably 2 years, Camille, to go back. And I used to do them every day, to go back and watch it.
Wow.
Yeah. Especially when I first started out, probably 12 years ago, on a social media called Social Cam. So it's exactly like Facebook, but it's only video.
Okay.
You can't do nothing else except videos. And and just the way I was speaking, and I wasn't really articulating my words properly, and I was just all over the place, and I would just turn the camera away when I've nothing to say, when I had blank. It was a wreck. It was a wreck.
Yeah, like anything else, you have to work at it, right?
Exactly. And I just kept going, right? So It's interesting that you said that.
Yeah, I think people are afraid to show their vulnerability, right? For a lot of valid reasons why, right? But when you're not open, you're not vulnerable, then, you know, you're kind of disservicing yourself, because that's when growth happens, right? You have to be able to be open and receive. So that's why we're here today. So let's get right into what we're going to talk about tonight. It's basically, we want to recap or review what happened last Sunday, which was the workshop that I had facilitated. The workshop was called the Caribbean Canadian Identity. It was open to our current members, our current board of directors, and the public. Anybody who's interested in the organizations that we're a part of. They want to get a better understanding as far as like our values, right? And what these organizations are about. This was the time for them to come in on this workshop. So I started out with talking about, I guess I led them on this journey, and the journey was the journey that I went through myself when I decided to only self-identify as Caribbean Canadian. And not only that, take it a step further, I decided to reject race as a part of my identity. Or as a part of anybody's identity. I decided to stop using race terms. Right? So, and it was a journey. And it took me learning, because this stuff you don't learn at school. Right? It took me putting in the efforts to pick up a book. Back in those days, it was books, right? It wasn't internet. I won't say how old, right? But it was going to the library and reading this stuff you don't get in school.
Yeah.
And then obviously once the internet came, in full force and everything at your fingertips, it was just once, the knowledge just pouring in, right? Link after link after link after link of information. So that's why we're so grateful to be here and now, is that we have access to information at our fingertips all the time. So there's really no excuse to be ignorant. Not in this day and age. There's no excuse to be ignorant. Oh, no. No, 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 no. Not today.
Not today. You're right. Not today. Right. 100%.
So interesting. One of the things from the participants, one of the interesting feedback that we got was that most of them didn't realize there's a difference between culture and race. We're talking about people of Caribbean descent. That was who was participating in the workshop.
Yeah.
From the poll that we took, most of them did not know there was a definite distinction between culture and race. They're not even they're not even the same, like they're opposites, actually.
Yeah, there's like fundamental difference.
Yes. So that's the one thing I wanted to share with our viewers, and you can watch the video. The actual workshop is on our YouTube channel. It's about 2.5 hours long, and a lot of information there.
And it's worth it because a lot of information.
I'm telling you,
and discussions.
You don't get this from school, and your kids are not learning it either. Trust me, they're not learning it today either. I didn't learn it when I was a kid, and they're not learning it now. Right? So you need to know who you are, and you can't, you don't expect the school system to teach you that. You have to be a part of the community, to converse with your community members, and then also do the research there on your own, right? But one thing is, two facts. One is race has to do with superficial qualities like skin color and hair texture. Superficial qualities that has no bearing on your potential. They used to use that during colonial times to say, if you look like this, your potential is not like somebody else who looks like that.
To categorize you.
Categorize, to classify, to be superior, to kind of justify being superior over another group of people.
Yeah.
Scientists dismissed the idea of race back in the early 18th century. That was another fact that our community didn't know. right, on the workshop.
That one I learned actually, that workshop.
Yeah. The majority didn't know that in the 18th century, scientists already said that race is dismissed, right? And for some reason, the community at large didn't get that memo. So in other words, the reason why it still is a part of our everyday conversation is because people are making it a part of the everyday conversation. Nothing to do with science, nothing to do with fact. It's that people are choosing to continue to use these race terms as a part of everyday conversation. In other words, we can choose not to as well. It's not a fact, it's actually artificial.
Yeah.
Race is actually art. If it's fact, then you can't really, you can't contest it. You can't challenge it. Fact is fact. But if it's artificial and people are choosing to use it, then we can choose not to use it as well.
It's not that interesting where it's proven, science says that, okay, we're not supposed to classify ourselves by race, right? It doesn't make sense.
They disproved it.
Yeah, it's
correct.
Artificial. But isn't it interesting that, okay, we're still talking about it. Then we wonder why there's such divide.
Correct. Yes, yes. We're still talking about and wondering why there's such divide. Yeah, most people are not exactly. People don't realize the power they have. Everyday people, everyday average people. You're waiting for, institutions to do something about it, not realizing that it's actually up to us. They kind of mirror what's important to us, right? They decide what's to be taught based on what's going on, what's important in today's society.
Exactly.
And we're still talking about it. So they figure it's relevant. So let's just keep it going.
Let's just keep it going. Yeah.
Yeah, people, and exactly right. We like to say that there's so much divide and this and that, but meanwhile, we don't realize we're a part of the conversation. We're actually contributing to that problem.
Yes, and this is where the lack of unity comes in. Because then I know I did research. I think I sent it to you to our old website years ago when we did, I forget what we did, but it was cultural research where, cultural identity is important to the contribution to people's well-being.
Of course, of course.
And I remember read about it where when you identify to your own culture and you embed in your culture and you understand your culture, then even other cultures, even when you say, for example, I get introduced to another culture, then it's easy for me to be myself there.
Exactly.
Then
you feel like you belong, correct?
Yeah, yes, right?
Correct.
And I thought that was very fascinating. And now here, 3-4 years later, and it's just a 360 for me. I'm like, wow, that makes sense.
Exactly. So culture has nothing to do with race. Culture has to do with cuisine, art, languages, religion, the landscape, the actual geographic region, right? The Caribbean region, and all of those things that make a Caribbean person unique from other cultures, right? It has nothing to do with skin color or hair texture.
Yep, nothing.
As a matter of fact, the Caribbean is actually the most diverse region on the planet. It's the only place on the planet where they look and sound different, but they have the one common culture. The culture is the same, regardless, island to island, country to country, right? So I recognize that. I mean, we have issues to get over, hurdles to get over in our community, and one of them is the racial divide. And that's why we were talking about it last Sunday, because we already have a lot to deal with outside of our community when it comes to racism. We don't need to be bringing that into our house. Don't make that a part of the conversation in our house.
Because you're affecting the next generation.
Correct.
Just like all past conversation affected us, the way we think and believe.
Big time.
And I'm so glad that, first of all, thank you. I didn't even say thank you to, coming up with, co-founding, not co-founding, founding these organizations and put on that beautiful presentation last week. That was really something in the sense that got a lot of people talking. And obviously it's going to be, I think there's going to be lots more parts to it.
Yes. Oh, yeah. This is,
that was just an intro.
of course, barely scratching the surface, barely scratching. We have a lot to talk about. Like I said it last week, right? Caribbean people, we love to party together. You know, we're very comfortable doing that. Very comfortable partying. I like to party with my peoples too. But everything is about balance, right? Everything is about balance. It can't just all be partying. You have to create another space now to talk. Just between us. You know what I mean? It's important.
Meaningful conversations.
Of course. When I'm jumping up on a boat ride or down the road, Caravana, I don't know if the person beside me jumping up is from Haiti, from Guyana, from Montserrat. I have no idea because we're not talking. Right? And now with these organizations, we talk. We actually talk on a regular basis. And it's Grenada, it's Guyana, it's Jamaica, it's Trinidad, it's Barbados, it's Montserrat, it's St. Lucia, it's St. Vincent, and it's everybody under one roof. And we're just talking. How refreshing is that? I mean, yes, we will party and laugh and joke around, and sometimes we'll have a little dance and stuff like that, right? But for the most part, we're getting to know each other. You know, and that's important
to learn about. Man, since I've been part of this organization, to learn about different cultures and different, even how many languages? Is it 7?
Six official languages.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
How can we have a good well-being if we don't know who we are, Oliver?
Exactly.
How are we going to really know who we are if we don't actually take the time to understand, you know, to learn about where we come from? Even if we've never been there, even if we weren't born there, your family is from there. It's in your blood. Your perspective. Yeah.
And to say more on top of that, now, how are you going to be able to navigate to where you want to go effectively?
Exactly.
If you don't have a strong base and understand, you know,
exactly,
your culture, where you're from.
It's super important. Super important. Once you know who you are, nothing can shake you. Not even racism.
Yes.
Not even racism. Once you know who you are and where you belong, where you fit in, that outside stuff is just sound like noise. You can't even hear it. It's just white noise. No pun intended.
100%.
No pun intended, right? Yeah. That's what it becomes, you know, and we wouldn't be the first to do that either. There's many other cultures who experience racism, but it doesn't penetrate their community because they are strong. They have a strong sense of who they are. They keep the stories going. They come together all the time. They talk, they pass it down to their kids, and they stay solid, unshakable.
You know, while you're talking, what actually came to me, I probably formed this in a question to you. Just my observation over my experience and people, you know, that I've talked to, Caribbean people. And obviously I was born and raised in Jamaica.
Is that obvious? You said obviously.
I don't know. Some people, okay. No, it's not obvious.
Okay.
Because when I went to Dominica, they thought I was Dominican.
Oh, really? Right? See, there you go. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
I'm talking to myself. You just heard me self-talking. I'm talking to myself.
Yes, I know. I'm just joking.
When it comes to you, you're born and raised here, right?
Correct.
And it's not, I don't know, maybe it's me, but it's not, I find that people who are born and raised in Canada, they kind of lose their culture that are, in most cases that I've seen.
Really?
In your case, even to come up with these organizations, that's something. That's telling something. Maybe it's just people around me, but
yeah,
when I came here, I struggle to even, and I have a lot of Caribbean friends, to even play cricket,
Right.
right?
Right.
And to just to, get into certain things that I wanted to, right? Obviously, not everything's going to be the same, but, I
Exactly.
wanted to keep the culture,
Right.
right? And
It's super important. Yeah.
yes, even speaking, even my own friends will be like, oh no, you don't speak like that. When you go to Rome, you got to do what the Romans do and
Right.
things like
Wow.
that,
Yeah.
right? And I was very stubborn.
Yes. So you kept it going.
Maybe, yeah, maybe that's why, I aligned myself with this organization, because I was always like this. Obviously, I wasn't really fully knowledgeable, because
Yeah.
I actually didn't know there's Barbados or St. Vincent. I just didn't know.
Right. Exactly.
So obviously I was very ignorant when it comes to stuff like that, but it was just fascinating. Now you're
Yeah.
talking, I was just listening. I'm like, there's a lot of people around me. It's like, in Canada, it was just, the culture wasn't there
No.
as I seen it. And now this is the reason why, and you can tell in our meetups on Sundays, you can tell, the communication and conversations where people are drawn to, you know, talk about these things, because they're learning, but at the same time, they're fascinated. Because I remember, I'm not sure who, and I don't want to call no names, but I remember a couple of people on the call says, I didn't know organization like this exists,
Right. Yeah.
where all of us come together and we're not bashing each other.
No, 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 no,
That's
no, 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 no.
like,
That's key.
that's key.
Oh, that is key.
That is huge. And when people come
Yeah.
in, they're like, wow, you have
Right.
people like from Grenada, Barbados, and Vincent,
Yes.
Trinidad,
Oh,
and they're
correct.
not bashing each other.
No, no, zero tolerance. We don't do that. This is next level.
Level up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is next level. This is like progress, forward, forward. We don't create spaces like that. Yeah.
Yes, it's
So,
fast. That in itself, it's fascinating.
yeah, refreshing,
Very,
fascinating, refreshing,
very.
motivating, you know.
I can't wait for the day where all 43 flags
Yes,
represented on a call.
yes,
Can you imagine that?
yes. By the way, Russ, you better call out the ones we're looking for still, eh? Anybody Spanish speaking?
Yes.
Anybody Spanish, French, Dutch, Papiamento? If you're speaking any of those languages and you're from the Caribbean, you're invited to join us. We actually want more representation.
Correct.
So Dominican Republic,
Yeah.
Martinique, Suriname, Bonaire,
Wow.
right? Venezuela,
Yeah.
Mexico, Panama, Puerto Rico, all these places, you're welcome in our space. We want you to be here. And if the different ethnicities, so if you're Indo-Caribbean, Afro-Caribbean, Asian Caribbean, Spanish Caribbean, or some sort of a blend, if you're a combination or what, like all of it. We're very, 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 very inclusive.
Well, welcome. Yes.
Yeah.
For sure. That would be something, man.
Oh, man.
I'm always imagining that.
Oh, yeah. I think the first thing we have to do, and this is why we're on the call, right, is to kind of like clear up any miscommunication or misunderstanding about who we are, right, and what we do at our organization. Because some people, they scroll, they're seeing organization, they figure we're just like everybody else. Stop. We're actually not. Take a minute. We're a very, very extremely inclusive space. So that's one, that is for sure. We definitely want more representation from all of the non-English speaking Caribbean countries.
Yep.
Another interesting thing on the call last Sunday was where there was not everybody on the call was sure that Guyana was a part of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
Let's clear it up. Go ahead, Oliver, clear it up for everybody.
What do you want me to clear up?
Whether or not Guyana is a part of the Caribbean.
Oh, yes, it is.
Okay. Okay.
It is, rightfully so. You can go into more details. But yeah.
No,
It's,
no,
it's,
no need. Everything is at your fingertips nowadays. Google.
yeah.
Guyana, folks, is a part of the Caribbean, even though they're not an island. Okay. And there are others in South America that are part of the Caribbean.
Some people might say, because I have conversation with other people, and they're saying Mexico is not,
Yeah.
Venezuela is not. Yeah, Google it.
Do the research. And this is stuff, again, this is us having to do the work ourselves because we weren't taught this in school, right? So I understand that you probably got misinformation along the way. And because we're so divided, right, by language, the Caribbean is with 6 official languages. So when you're only surrounding yourself with English speaking Caribbean countries, then you think it's only English speaking Caribbean countries. There's actually 5 other languages, 5 other countries speaking totally different languages.
Correct.
That are still connected to us.
Correct.
Right. So that's a big part of these organizations. It's kind of like a learning institute. I was thinking about it recently, Oliver. It's not just a not-for-profit, eh? Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a learning institute.
I've learned a lot.
Yes.
It's
also a social club.
Yep.
It's a mix. This organization is a mix. Right? It's also health and wellness, because that's important.
Huge.
Yeah. So it's not your everyday run-of-the-mill not-for-profit is what I'm trying to say.
This is very, very unique.
Yeah. And we welcome, children right up to seniors. That's another thing that's unique. Because you might find a youth club, or you might find a 60+ club, right? Or, the average club is, people that around the same age group as you, whereas we actually welcome the whole community in our spaces. The kids need to hear from this generation, Generation X, and they also need to hear from the older. And so do we. We need to hear from the older.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, man. We can't even, that's for another day. The amount of wisdom, knowledge we've gotten from some of these, I call them golden members. We're actually at a disadvantage when we're disconnected to our elders. We're at a disadvantage because we're having to start from scratch all the time.
Yeah, we are.
When they've already been there, done that.
They can give you some golden nuggets.
And think about other communities. They respect their elders, eh? Their elders think about the other cultures. I won't name any here, right? But there are other cultures who really, the elder is like the focal point of the community. The matriarchs, the patriarchs.
Oh, yes.
Right? And we're lacking that in our community here.
Stories, the older ones.
Exactly, yes.
The kids,
correct.
The really, really young ones who don't understand, they're still running around. They're still
taking it in.
Yes, embedded in the culture, and listen to the stories and listen to, the older adults or the older kids laughing, talking, putting their inputs.
We need that. It's critical.
Very.
It's not optional. It's critical.
Very, very.
If we're going to get a good understanding who we are and have a good well-being. All these people play a part, right? No man is alone, right? You're not there roaming around by yourself we're all connected to each other. We're all connected, so whether or not you realize that, we're all connected. I have 2 challenges for our community, and I know they can do it, right? Because I did it. Okay, number 1 is, my first challenge is stop using race terms when you're talking about yourself or other people in the Caribbean Canadian community. More specifically, stop using the words black and brown. How about that? Yes, I said it.
I'm white for that matter.
Yes, correct. Stop using race terms when you're talking about yourself or your own people of Caribbean descent. That's challenge number one.
What's appropriate thing before we get into the details?
Oh, yeah.
What's
right.
appropriate thing to say? What's
yes.
the appropriate ways to say it? Or the
Okay. Caribbean Canadian, Jamaican Canadian, Indo-Caribbean, Indo-Trinidadian, Indo-Afro-Asian. That is not race. That is ancestry. African Jamaican, that is ancestry. There's a difference between ancestry and race. Race is an artificial distinction. It was created during colonial times to divide and categorize people so as to justify one group being superior over another. That is the only reason why those things came into our language. That was the only reason.
So you're telling me that the more we use those colors, because I call them colors.
And they actually are colors, eh? They're actually Crayola colors. I don't want to name any companies, but actually colors.
Yeah.
And for some reason, yeah.
So you tell me the more we label ourselves colors, we're never gonna get rid of division.
Correct. No, of course not.
Makes sense, of course.
Of course not.
Wow. It's interesting. And that came up a lot in our discussion last week. And of course, you know my view on that. Even before I came upon this organization, I was already struggling with the word, to be honest.
Yes.
But I just didn't know what else to say.
What else
I
there
just
was.
didn't want to. Yeah, I remember started off saying African American, but I'm like, that
You're
doesn't
not
make
American.
sense because I'm not in America.
Yes.
I'm in Canada, right? And I used to joke around and say African Canadian, right? Right? But you know, it makes sense. The more I did my research, the more I embed myself in the organization and understood, and even my kids, you know, are starting to understanding and referring to each other and others as not using the colors.
Yes. Yeah. Don't use that. We're about progress, right? And moving forward. We can't move forward if we attach ourselves to old and outdated language. We are allowed to change the language.
What would you say to some people though, if they have no problem with the word like black, for example, and they're very successful and they identify themselves as black, what would you respond to that?
My response would be, that's your choice. You have a choice. Everybody has a choice.
What if they push back to you and say, what's the difference between, yeah, I know what you're saying, Camille. The difference is, yes, you know, you can, you know, self-identify as, you know, Caribbean Canadians and all these things. But, you know, what's the big significant difference between black and is not the same? Right?
No.
I'm just giving you a little bit of pushback so people might say.
Yeah. Well, my answer is, I'll go back to how we started, is black was not it's an artificial distinction. It was a term that Europeans came up with. It's a label. It's a label. It's not an identity.
Yes.
It's a label, and everybody knows, right? We all, when we're talking about children in school, everybody knows what a label is, right? You don't want to label the kid the dunce kid, right? Or you don't want to label. We always hear about that, and we're so against it. We're so against labeling kids.
That's the word I was pushing you.
Oh yeah, we're so against labeling kids. We will fight for that to the end. How dare you label my child so and so? Because we know what the consequences are when we negatively label children. Guess what? Let me save you I'll give you the short version. That applies to us too. That actually applies to us too. But we're better at internalizing, right? Kids, they will lash out. You know, if you call a child a troublemaker in school, you label them a troublemaker and you write it in the report card, and the next, you know, it passes around in the teacher's lounge and everything. This child is a a troublemaker, they will lash out because that's what you're expecting of them.
Correct.
Right.
So people live up and down to label.
Correct.
I mean, if it's a positive label, they're gonna try to live up to that label.
That's human
And
nature.
if it's a negative label, they're gonna try to live that.
Human
just
nature.
to your point.
So I think everybody knows about labeling and children, but they don't realize that we're actually being labeled too.
Yeah.
We're labeled too, right? So the challenge is to remove those labels, remove them, discard them. That's the challenge. Discard the labels. Stick to identity, right? Culture
would you say a label, kind of closed you in? Labels doesn't open you up. For example, because we know words are powerful.
That's an understatement. Yes. Label is literally like, it's literally a label. It's literally a label blocking out the writing. Think of a label and you block it out with it. You put a label on top of the words behind it. You can't see it.
Correct.
Blocking it out. Yeah.
Ooh, you just let me thought about something.
Yeah.
This is the reason why sometimes some of us, we don't understand our true selves. Wow. Because of the label. You just said, it's literally a label that's covers something.
Correct.
So when you label yourself as a color,
exactly,
you call yourself a color, you are limited. Then guess what?
Extremely limited.
Guess what becomes limited? Your thinking and your beliefs.
Your perspective, your beliefs, of course. Your whole trajectory now is limited. I'm saying this because I am living it. Back in the 90s when it was cool, to use these terms like black and brown, it was cool, right? Because the thing is, Canadians, we like to, we get all of our media and everything from the United States, like everywhere else. Same with the Caribbean. They're always trying to get the American channels and whatnot.
Try to be up to the time. Yeah, try to be up to the time.
And so we look at them as though they're the trendsetters, they're the leaders, they know what's right. And we just kind of follow suit with fashion and music and movies. That's where we get everything from. So them times when I was listening to hip hop and whatnot, black was a popular term in all these, hip hop songs and whatnot, right? So I used to use it. It wasn't until I became a parent, a mother. It wasn't until I became a mother, which was 12 years ago, is when I thought, okay, well, you know what? Let me just really sit down and think, because I took my job as being a mother extremely important. What do I want to now put in this little young growing mind? What do I want him to know? What do I want him to think about himself? And I became very careful, with my words and doing the research before I pass it down, to the kids. I just took my job really serious. So, and of course I have to lead by demonstration. So it's not just me telling him he's a Caribbean Canadian child. I myself had to connect with these terms first. I had to reject the race terms first. And then the kids obviously just follow what their parents do, right? The kids are a reflection of the parents.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a big challenge for a lot of people, right? And we're right around the corner from Black History Month, right? And it's going to be a big challenge.
Oh yeah, a lot of people gearing up. A lot of people are gearing up for these events and activities around.
And great cause. It's a great cause, and there's nothing wrong with the cause. My focus is on people of Caribbean descent, right? Because Black History Month has nothing to do with people of Caribbean descent. If it did, then it would include people who don't speak English. It would include people who don't look Afro, because Caribbean is not just Afro or African.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's Spanish, it's Indian, it's Chinese, and all these other ethnicities. So if Black History Month was for Caribbean people, then it would have all those different ethnicities.
Correct.
Right.
Wow.
So not to take away from that cause, but my challenge here for the people of Caribbean descent is to try to make an effort to detach from labels, go more towards your identity. Afro-Caribbean, Jamaican, Canadian, Caribbean Canadian, those things have nothing to do with your color. When I say this person is Jamaican Canadian, you have no idea what that person looks like. If I'd say to you, I just met a Jamaican Canadian the other day, you have no idea what that person looks like. Correct. I haven't told you yet.
Yep.
They could look like anybody.
Anybody.
Oh yeah, they could look like anybody.
Yep. Interesting, huh?
The other challenge I have is for people who were born here in Canada, like myself. I used to be one of these people who used to say, when people used to ask me, what's your background? I would say, well, I was born in Canada, but my parents are from Trinidad and Tobago. Stop saying that. When people ask you what's your background, you say it's Trinidad and Tobago. Now, for me, the reason why I never used to say it back in the day, even though I was very connected to the culture, my parents, man, that's all they knew. They couldn't teach me Canadian culture. They taught me Trinidadian culture. That's what they know. So for me, the fear was that I would be quizzed. If I say my background is Trinidad and Tobago, I figure they're going to ask me, well, who was the prime minister in 1972?
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Right? It. That's what I thought was going to happen. I was going to get put on a pop quiz right away on the spot. Tested. And guess who I thought was going to quiz me? My own people.
Interesting.
I never thought it would come from anybody outside of my own community. I thought if I tell my own peoples that they would want to put me to the test.
Because you wanted to fit in.
Right. So the second challenge is stop saying, I was born here, but my parents were born there. Stop saying that because words have meaning, right? Words have meaning. When you say that, you're disconnecting yourself from the culture in your language.
Oh.
You're basically telling your audience or the person on the other end that you are not the same as your parents.
Yeah.
And you're creating that little space between you and where you're descending from. Stop saying it.
We're dividing, yeah.
Stop saying it. Just so you know, other communities don't say that. When you ask somebody what's their background, they say they're Pakistani Canadian, right? Or they say they're from Pakistan. And you don't bother, were you born there or was it your parents? Nobody ever comes back with that response. When you say you're from Pakistan, you mean you or your parents? Nobody ever says that, but that's the fear. I'm saying this, Oliver, because I know that there are a lot, including my own circle of friends.
Oh, no, I know. I've seen it. I've seen it. Yeah.
Yes.
I know. Yeah.
And to be honest, we do get backlash sometimes from certain people who were born in the Caribbean. Well, you weren't born there, so you're not really Caribbean. We get the backlash from people who were born there.
And it's interesting you say that because they don't mean it that way, but after a while, it becomes that way.
Yeah, so please stop saying that. Those of you who were born in the Caribbean, please stop saying that. Well, you were really born there, so you're not really Caribbean. Stop saying that. You're not helping to bridge the gaps, the disconnects, the divide in our community. So it goes both ways. If you're born here, stop making excuses in your language. I was born here, but my parents are from so-and-so. Nobody needs to know that. That's not relevant. What does it matter? In our space, we don't check your birth certificate. We don't ask you for a copy of your birth certificate when you join this membership. We don't ask you for a copy, so don't worry, you can relax. We're not checking. This is not the mafia. Okay, only the mafia, they want to make sure you're 100% come from this, that, they make sure your blood's not mixed up.
Exactly.
This is not the mafia.
Those are good challenges.
Good, right?
Love it, love it, love it.
Here's how it becomes easier to do that, because it's not those two challenges, right? Stop using labels, black and brown, and stop saying I was born here, but my family was born there, right? Those are the two challenges. Here's how I'll give you a tip to make it easy for you to triumph on this challenge, to win this challenge. Surround yourself with people who are also doing that.
Very easy.
Oh, and there are a ton of people who are also doing that. You're looking at two right now.
Yep.
Surround yourself with people who have already stopped using labels right? And started connecting more with their culture, their cultural identity.
That's what made it easy for me to actually.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we
Wow.
talk about it all the time, right? It's a part of our regular vocabulary so that you get used to saying it. It's like learning Spanish, but never going anywhere where you have to speak Spanish. Eventually you lose it.
You're gonna lose it.
Yeah, you don't have the motivation to keep it going, right? So you're now trying to use a new language here. It's still English, right? But now you're using little different vocabulary now. So you got to find that group of people, who are also doing the same thing.
Like-minded people.
Yeah. So we have 10 minutes left, Oliver.
10 minutes left. I didn't know you're timing me or you're timing up.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if people are bored or what.
You wanted to do a 1 hour. That's okay.
Yeah. Was it supposed to be an hour or was it supposed to be half hour? I don't remember.
I don't know. I think it was an hour.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So what was, I guess, if you were to take away something from last Sunday, Oliver, that workshop, what was your takeaway?
Ooh.
Just hearing the participants, how they were responding, what they were sharing, maybe the things that you learned from the presentation, just in general.
So many things, to be honest
Yeah.
with you, with the conversation and discussion. But you know what I really hit me? Because I kind of teach this as well, is, and I talked to you about it before, the Maslow hierarchy of needs?
Yes.
So.
Okay, I'm going to spell that for those who don't know it, okay? So they can look it up. But this is important. It's MASLOW. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Look it up. Go ahead, Oliver.
So where you can help me out here because I don't remember all the different categories.
Yeah, neither.
First category was
I have it.
Your basic needs.
Correct.
Physiology.
Food and shelter.
Yeah, all those needs. And the next one I think is safety.
Correct.
And then the other one now it's really what really hit me was that belonging?
That's correct.
That one was belonging and significance.
Yes, it was belonging and love needs.
And love needs.
Yes. And then the next one up is esteem needs. Yes. And the final one is self-actualization.
Ooh. So, man, you know what really hit me from that?
Yeah.
And it's because, this is why it's so amazing to teach. When you teach, you learn. You learn to teach, and you teach to learn.
Of course. Exactly.
So, and the more you teach something, you more you get deeper into that.
Correct.
And that hit me. I teach something like that, but not with the graphics, right?
Yes.
Some of us will never get to self-actualization if we don't understand, if we're not belong, if we don't have cultural belongingness.
Correct.
This is the reason why when I look around, we struggle.
Correct. Big time.
We have perseverance. We have
everything.
We have creativity. We're strong will.
We have everything. We have expertise. Yes, we have everything.
But we fail to get there because there's a cap.
Limits, just like what you said.
Yeah, obviously the one of the cap is the label. And believe it or not, people think that's very simple. Once this seeps down in your subconsciousness, it's game over.
Correct.
It becomes very difficult to get out of that. So we always wonder, well, we're in this loop. You get a breakthrough, we get a breakthrough, and then you're back to the loop again.
Yes.
You get a breakthrough, whether you start a company or you get a good job or whatever it is, it's a good breakthrough to your actual goal, and there's a cap there.
Exactly.
So that really hit me
yeah.
where I'm like, self-actualization.
Yes.
Where success.
You won't get there. You won't get there unless you go through the phases, right? And belonging is before that. Yes.
Belonging is where
Correct.
most of us struggle.
Yes.
Challenges.
Yes.
That one, it really hit me. I was
Huge.
like, wow.
Huge.
And I told you I'm going to go back and look at it again because half the things I that was actually there, I don't remember. But
Yes.
yeah, that really hit me.
Yeah. So I'm going to say it again for those who are watching. It's MASLOW. Maslow, hierarchy of needs.
Very, very, very powerful.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So that was a big one for you.
That I took that away from last week.
Yeah. What my takeaway from last week, just based on the conversation, is that it looks, I mean, obviously that was just a microcosm of a larger Caribbean Canadian community. But for those who were on the call, it looked as though people are ready.
Are ready?
They are ready.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yes.
Because I would say,
yeah,
I would say probably 90% of people, I could be wrong. You did some of the polls, but from my view, my memory, 90% of the people was like shaking their head and really, some, I think you said 80% didn't really know, but the conversation, they're like, okay, now I know. And even on the call, they're still correcting themselves. And
yes.
You're right.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
You're right. Yeah.
People are ready. You know, at the very least, you know, for somebody, as you said, Oliver, with your example, if, you know, somebody pushes back and says they're happy with Black and why would it's the same thing and why would I use Caribbean, Canadian or whatever, right? How about just try something new? I mean, it wouldn't hurt for you to try that. It certainly wouldn't hurt. We already know what it's like. You already know what your experience is like being a Black man or a Black woman. You know what that's like. Try now telling a different story to yourself. Right? Because it starts with your own thoughts, right? It's what are you telling yourself, or you know what I mean? Because it started with the Europeans using those labels.
Correct.
But that wasn't our biggest problem. Our biggest problem happened when we decided to make it our own story.
Yes.
Do you understand? Like when we internalized those labels, that's when we went downhill. You understand? 100%. They can say whatever they want. People can say whatever they want. But the minute it gets in here, and now it's your story. What they were saying now becomes your story.
It's over. That just hit me when you said just it. Somebody else's story becomes your story.
Oh yeah.
And you wonder why you're lost.
Because you're in their story. That's why you're lost. You're in their story.
Wow. That's what's happening.
Oh my God. In real time, every day.
That's what's happening.
Every day.
And then when we don't experience that breakthrough anymore, we start using the blame game. We're pointing one finger, but there's three fingers is pointed back at. No, I'm serious.
Right.
We're trying to use the blame game. Wow. And then there's the cycle. There's the cycle again.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, we have the choice. We probably didn't know that, and maybe no one has told you that. Not you, but people who are watching. I'm telling you that you have a choice. You don't have to follow the crowd. You don't have to do what is in, what's popular, what's trendy.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, you have a choice. And at any given point in time, you can change your mind. You're allowed to do that. You're supposed to do that. You know, the other interesting one, I don't know how much time. Oh my gosh, we have 1 minute. I don't know, Oliver. We might go a few more minutes over if that's okay with Lisa.
YouTube is timed?
No, it's not. It's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You on schedule. You on time.
Yeah. Oh, you better tell them, Oliver. You better tell them how we do.
Caribbean 2.0.
Oh yeah, we start and end on time.
Start on time and end on time.
And when the time comes at the end, we acknowledge, and then if anybody wants to stay, we continue. You know, we ask the permission, right, and then continue.
Correct.
But but another one that came up that was interesting is most people didn't know the epistemology of the word Negro and Black, and of course the N-word, where it came from, how it was derived over time. People can look that one up. I'm not going to go too much in it, but basically those terms, Negro and the N-word, is just an English translation for the word Black.
The spin-off.
It's just it's literally direct translation.
Wow.
So if you don't like the words Negro and the N-word, then you shouldn't like Black either, because it's literally the translation. So why in English is it better to say, in English versus Spanish or versus Latin? It's not. It means the same thing, and they were created for a specific purpose, was to oppress certain people, right? So we don't have to make that our story anymore.
Even the
N-word. We never had to make that our story.
Even the N-word is I got a lot of, oh man. At work, Caucasians used to like seriously, like good friends. They're like, seriously, Oliver, I know I could talk to you and you're open-minded. Why certain people can say the N-word and it's not like I want to, but I can't. I have no words for them. I said, I don't know, man. Let's talk about something else. I don't know.
Same here.
Seriously,
Same here.
I don't know. It's confusing.
It is confusing.
Yeah.
It is confusing. How about just stop saying it?
Yeah.
Why don't we just stop saying it?
You should see when I used to work at the community center and I was the coordinator. And I had 27 staff working for me, and they're all young. And Caucasian, Latino, Caribbeans, even Jewish, they're using the N-word. And I call a meeting, right? And they're like, oh, here's the old man now. They call me old man, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I said, listen, I'm not telling you how to speak, but in my presence on the community grounds, please do not use that term. Right. Do not. I get some pushback, but I really slammed the brakes on that very fast. Within a week, that was done.
And we've all heard the justification, right? How they're trying to empower themselves by spinning it and flipping it and using it now. You know what I mean? No.
Words are words, man. It's powerful.
Words, yes.
You can't flip that.
Do the research. Yeah, do the research. Everything is at your fingertips. You don't have to go to the library. Everything is there. Do the research.
You flip that negative word is going to flip you. Simple as that.
And you have a choice. You don't have to go with what's fashionable, what's trendy, what's cool. Yeah, so in case people forgot, again, my challenge for you is to stop using labels, in particular Black and brown. If you are of Caribbean descent, this is who I'm speaking to, because that's who I care about. I care about my own people of Caribbean descent. So when we're talking to our community, right? And so the challenge I'm putting out there is to stop using those labels among each other, among ourselves. Stop. Leave that at the door. That doesn't come into our house. That's their story.
Yeah.
That's not our story.
Let's create our own story.
Correct. And I think we've given these terms enough of our time. We've been trying it for a couple decades now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we tried it.
Yeah, try something else. Challenge yourself.
We tried the N-word, tried to flip it, to empower ourselves by using it in our music and trying to flip it and this and that. Where are we?
Yeah.
Did we get anywhere?
Exactly. We're
still here.
Yeah, let's level up. Let's grow.
Yeah, come on. Let's try something new.
That's a good challenge.
Yeah, let's try something new.
Let's see who's gonna take up that challenge.
Yes.
Comment if you're gonna comment in the comment section if you're gonna take up that challenge. Yes. Reach out to us. You reach out to us if you have any issue with that challenge.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And if you're not ready now, the minute when you're ready to take on that challenge, reach out to us, because not everybody's ready at the same time. People have to mull it over. They have to sleep on it. It might be 5 years from now. Something might turn on.
Yeah.
Right. So the door is open. You know what I mean? It's whenever you're ready. We'll still be here. It's a movement we started here, challenging our community to change the mindset. Bob Marley's been saying it from time about mental slavery.
Oh.
I don't know if anybody was listening when he was singing it.
Oh.
But he's been telling us, he's been imploring us from time.
That's a deep one. Mental slavery.
Man.
These are the things that cause, you see, I was talking about the wheel, and we can't get through our breakthroughs because of the mental slavery. That's huge.
Brown, by the way, is also a colonial term, just so you know, black and brown. Europeans came up with those terms. They thought it was their business to categorize people for some reason. They thought it was their business to do so. But like I said, the problem became when we started calling ourselves that. That's when the problem started.
Yeah, we take that on.
We took it in.
We believed it.
We took it in. Right.
We believed
right.
We believed it. And now
right.
we get capped.
So now they don't even have to do much else because we've already accepted it. Like we're already walking around using these terms.
Oh man.
Right? So it's
aren't you excited for this movement?
Every day. Every day.
This is actually a huge movement.
Every day.
Because it's gonna happen.
Yes, you have to tune into this channel. So we're starting something here, right? And if people are interested to hear what we have to say, whether or not they're interested, we're going to keep doing this, Oliver. You and I.
Oh yeah. We already decided. We don't know if we're gonna or after we're gonna do it, but we already
exactly the frequency. Yeah, but it's happening.
If we see a lot of comments, if you guys want to have this chat, every week or every other week or once a month, let us know. Whatever you want, or if there's a certain topic you want us to talk about. Obviously, it's going to be surrounding, Caribbean.
Correct.
Preferable Caribbean.
Yes.
And then, we will talk about it.
Exactly.
But this is our first time.
Yeah.
And often, like I said, we don't know yet, but
correct.
Still passionate people here. So we're going to continue this. All right.
And all of this is coming from a place of love, right, Oliver? Because we don't have to do this. We actually want to share the knowledge. We want connection. We want our people to feel like they belong, like they fit in. We want them to feel included. Like, this is why we're doing this.
Exactly.
And it's coming from people who are of Caribbean descent. So you can trust, you know what I mean? It's not like it's an outside person sitting here trying to tell you. We're telling you because we care. And we are one of you, and we got to take care of ourselves and stop waiting for somebody else to swoop in and solve our problems. You hit it on the nail, Oliver, when you said our biggest problem is belonging. We're not there. We got food and shelter covered. We got safety and security needs covered. We're struggling with the belongingness.
Belonging.
Big time.
Correct.
Losing our identity. And it's very easy in Canada.
Huge,
It's very easy to lose your identity. Because when you turn on the TV, there's no Caribbean stuff on there. Right? Only specialty channels to get your own Caribbean stuff, right? Specialty radio channels and specialty online stations and whatnot, right? That's not mainstream.
Yeah. I struggle. I came here from Jamaica to high school. Right, I struggled in high school because I'm learning about, what was his name, Adolf Hitler, World War I and II and III, and I'm like, I was lost.
You couldn't relate. You couldn't relate. I couldn't relate. Yeah.
I couldn't relate. Nothing at all. Like I was just lost.
Nothing there for us. Nothing there for us in school. Yeah. So where are you gonna get it?
Just before we end off here, we should also talk about. I know we mentioned it, but maybe people just logging out at this moment, or maybe fast forward. Don't fast forward.
Yeah.
We should also mention that we meet up every Sunday.
Yes.
We meet up every Sunday.
Go ahead.
Group of Caribbeans, and like Camille talked about before, you have Caribbeans from all sorts of different ethnicities and backgrounds and cultures and just, you name it. And it's amazing to see how we all come together and have fun and play games and discussion. Even seniors we have and kids and you name it, discussions around meaningful topics.
Yeah. And we don't know everybody, right? It's new people coming in all the time. And then they feel they fit in because we go out of our way to make sure people feel comfortable in our space, right? Because we already know those stories where things blow up and erupt and, the whole thing just, right? Mash up, right? So we're very aware of that. We go out of our way to make people feel included and safe and respected. And it's fun. It's not always heavy. We have a lot of fun too, because people let their guard down and we do Caribbean games and trivia and we just chat about, how was your week or even how are you coping with, COVID and just getting to know each other on a personal, like intimate level. So it's really special. Friendship.
Oh yeah. We're creating that belongingness.
Yes. And when we don't have one on a Sunday, what happens, Oliver? When we say that we're not having a meetup, people get anxiety.
People get excited. People like, what?
People get anxiety.
Yeah.
They look forward.
They look forward to it. Yeah. My kids look forward to it.
Because it's something different and it's engaging. And they feel like they fit in.
Yeah, something a lot of people from the Caribbean culture, a lot of people don't experience. It's always
I didn't.
Always go to some jump up, some fete.
And I love the jump up. I love the jump up. I love the fete.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
Yeah, time and place.
Time and place, yes.
Right.
But balance.
Balance. Where you gotta, get to know each other, communicate, discussions, and play games and learn about each other. It's fun. It's fun. So I just want to put that in there. Yeah. So people.
That was a good call. Yes.
So people know. Shameless plug. How about that?
No, that was a good call. Yeah. Yeah. So we welcome anybody who's okay. I'm going to read out because I put this list. I showed it. I think it was the last slide when we did the workshop last Sunday. So I'm just going to read them out, Oliver.
Yeah.
So if there are people who are watching this video now and they're interested in things like progress and moving forward, or preserving Caribbean culture and identity, if you're interested in a growth mindset, you're interested in being a part of the solution as opposed to being a part of the problem, if you're interested in gaining knowledge as opposed to being in the dark, if you're interested in being included and making new friends and fitting in somewhere, if you're interested in choice and free will, if you're interested in communicating, talking, conversing, discussing, if you're interested in healing is a big one, Oliver. I think we need to have another call just talking about healing and forgiveness.
That's huge.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's a big one.
Oh, man. If you are interested in healing, if you're interested in being present as opposed to always feeling absent and disconnected, if you're interested in being engaged and participating, if you're interested in being self-reliant, like looking for answers within, as opposed to always waiting for somebody else, interested in reinventing yourself, redefining who you are, being accountable, being responsible, those are our values. That's what we're talking about. That's what we represent, all those different characteristics and qualities.
Love your list. I love your list, by the way.
If you are interested in those qualities, those characteristics, those are the people that you will surround yourself with in our spaces.
Dead on. So last question.
Yes.
And I know I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
We didn't come up with a name for this segment.
No, man.
It's going to be involved. It's going to evolve. I was just watching you.
No, I had it one night in my bed, and I did not get up and write it down.
That's
So
okay.
it's
It's gonna
gone.
come.
Yeah,
We'll just keep
so
going
I
until it
haven't
comes.
been forcing it. I sat there, like after we talked, I'm like, let me see if I could think, and it wasn't coming. I just put the pen down. I'm like, you know what? It'll come when it's when it's time.
It'll come. It's let it flow. Let it flow.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
just like how we're flowing now. Yeah.
So it's a revolution, people. It's a movement. It's a revolution. We're moving forward. And guess what? There's all change is fluid, right? It's change is always forward. It's never backward. And change doesn't wait for anybody either.
Oh no.
Right?
I call it a wave. I call it a wave.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Come, it's not waiting. It's gone.
No. So it is what it is at this point. You know, you're getting some of the facts. You can look up the rest. You can watch the workshop. But I implore those who are ready to ride the wave with us. Ride the wave. I'm using Oliver's term. Because the wave is not stopping for anybody. It's coming down.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you either ride it or wash over.
Yeah, that's it. Once it's gone, it's gone. But we're still here. So we're not saying if you don't, jump on.
No, well, like the ocean, waves always come back around, right?
Yeah.
The waves always come back around at some point, like the ocean, right? But
we're still here.
I think it's time. I think people are ready to hear what we're saying. They probably wouldn't have been ready maybe, I don't know, 5 years ago. But I think now, especially now with the pandemic and everything, people are questioning, you know what I mean? With the fear and the anxiety and the stress around the pandemic, people are questioning, what is my purpose? Who am I?
Correct.
Why am I still here? What do I do next?
Yes. And they're going through tough times.
Tough times.
Yeah. So you don't know. So,
yeah.
And that's part of the reason why we do these meetups too every Sunday.
Correct.
To help people through these tough times and certain times.
That's why we started it. Yeah. Before we used to meet physically in person, obviously.
Yeah.
And then March of last year, we went strictly online. And we've been since March of last year. Can you imagine? Almost a year now. Every Sunday since March of last year, we've been logging in with our community. How are you?
Yeah.
What do you need help with? Sharing information. Did you know that this is rather than starting from scratch, right? That's another thing I always hear in our community, right? Is that some people don't want to share information because they feel out somehow that will take away from their success. If I tell you what worked for me, somehow you're taken away from me. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
The world is too big. The marketplace is
ridiculous.
Too big.
Get over yourself.
Yes.
Get over yourself.
Yes, exactly. That's old news.
That is outdated, old school mentality.
Outdated. Yeah, you got it.
We don't leave space for that here. We actually welcome the sharing of information and knowledge.
Yeah. So now, how do we end this thing off?
I don't know. You want to sing a tune? I keep trying to encourage you to sing a tune for some reason. I don't know why.
No, it ain't happening. No, that's not happening.
Ba-da-bum. I don't know. That's the end of the segment. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out.
Yeah, obviously we have to do we're here accomplished and united.
Oh,
we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Just so you know, that's our mantra. We are here, accomplished and united.
United.
Yes.
That's what we live by.
That's huge.
That's what we go by. Yes, correct. So, I don't know.
With that being said,
from me, Oliver Levy, thank you all for tuning in. We're going to be doing this a lot. As you can tell, no notes. Camille have her list there, but freestyle for now, unless there's specific questions or subjects or anything you guys want us to talk about. But other than that, we're going to try to come on here. We're not sure yet, Camille. What is it?
Right.
Once a month for now?
We'll play it by ear once a month for now.
Once a month from now, we're coming in here. And or you know what? If we feel like we need to do like the next 2 weeks, then we do it, right?
Could be impromptu.
Yeah, but
the
it's
best thing
something-
is subscribe to the channel.
Yes,
Subscribe to the channel, because then when we go live, you get a notification.
yes, yes.
Right?
But it's gonna be
Yeah.
Fridays for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Fridays at
subscribe
9?
to the channel.
Not
Yes,
Friday.
9:30.
Live is gonna be a Friday.
Yeah, yeah.
Friday at 9.
Nighttime, when everybody has done everything they're supposed to do for the day, and they can just sit and relax and have a cup of tea or drink a glass of wine, and then just tune in and hear what we're talking about next.
So tune in.
Yeah. Well, have a great night. Thanks for listening in. My name is Camille Kerr. And thank you, Mr. Oliver Levy,
Thank
for
you.
joining me on this new journey,
Thank
this
you.
new chapter, the whole live stream world. It was a nice warm welcome I got into the live stream world. I think I could get used to this.
I mean, get used to it. I like, seriously. If somebody wants to comment, Camille look nervous. She looked like she's been doing it for a while. Not nervous at all. So you're good. You're good. You get my blessings.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. So don't forget to subscribe.